So I did something interesting this week. I went to Windsor Racecourse rather than trading it. Why? Because I was fascinated by one particular aspect of this particular meeting, and I was desperate to find out if my hunch was correct. And that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. Please like or dislike the video or leave a comment below. That will allow me to produce better videos and more of them in the future. So I did something interesting this week, and that was visit Windsor Racecourse. That in itself is not particularly interesting. However, the reason that I visited there was interesting, and that was consistently over a number of years I performed very well at Windsor on a Monday evening. And I had this theory that perhaps one of the reasons that that was the case was because of the type of people that go to Windsor and the sort of events that it was. So I thought I would go and find out. Now, when you go to Windsor Racecourse, it's actually quite a popular area, popular with tourists, not far from London, near major conurbations, so it seems to attract quite a crowd. The traffic was pretty bad when I turned up there. But there was loads of parking, so I parked up and walked to the course. The only time I'd previously been in that area was when I went to the Olympics and the rowing, and we happened to park at Windsor Racecourse. So I did know sort of roughly where the course was and that there would be ample parking. But nonetheless, I tried to turn up early, traffic was late, and I missed the first race, so it wasn't a great start. However, upon getting to the course, I was pleasantly surprised. There were many more people than I thought would be there. And there was a right mixture of people as well. So you had people quaffing down champagne and trying to impress each other, and then you had your average bloke, and then you had a few people getting wildly drunk. There was quite a nice mixture, and also there were a decent number of families there as well. But I was actually quite impressed. There was a lot going on. There's plenty of food, drink, and loads of different things happening there. And it's obviously become a bit of a thing in the social calendar because it's there every Monday throughout the summer. People obviously seem to know that it's there and will turn up if the weather's appropriate and so on and so forth. So I happened to pick a day when the weather was reasonable and it was very busy. So the thing about a busy meeting is that's going to encourage more betting, and more betting will make a stronger market. There is a correlation between strong betting heats and good trading markets. But the interesting thing is that Windsor itself generally doesn't run particularly good quality races. So you wouldn't expect it to be a strong betting heat, but the number of people at the venue were obviously making that a strong betting heat. Now, I chose the club enclosure ticket. That allowed me to walk around all of the different areas within Windsor, which is exactly what I did. And therefore, that gave me access to all different parts of the racecourse, which I dutifully explored. But the interesting thing was the amount of bookies. There were loads of bookies in the social areas where there was drink and food, but they were also lined up outside the main grandstands, and there were a significant number. And that's significant as well in terms of why Windsor on a Monday evening is such a good market. Because when you place a bet with a bookmaker at a racecourse, they use some technology and a laptop to manage their position. No longer do they make a judgment or use a bit of pen and paper, type all the details into a laptop, and then that tells them what their net position is in the market. And at that point, they can actually hedge their position on the exchange. So you look at all of these bookmakers, they're taking money from many different punters that are there for good or bad reasons. And nonetheless, that money ends up on the exchange one way or another if they choose to hedge. Now, the interesting thing was, I did take a picture of one of the markets. It was just a 6-runner market that was on that evening, and I deliberately took it on the 6-runner market because what you find on the exchanges is the over-round, the percentage that you're losing to the bookmaker tends to be incredibly small on the exchange. And I was interested to see what the over-round was at the racecourse. And the astonishing thing was, it was 115%. 115%. So that meant that for every 100 quid that those punters were putting on the on-course market, they were losing 15% of their stake in the long run. I captured, or BetAngel captured, the information for me automatically while I was actually at the racecourse, and the market at post time was 99, or just under 100%. It was 99.86 or somewhere. It was very, very close to 100%. So it was actually overbroke. Now that's a bit of a coincidence. You typically wouldn't expect that, but maybe you'd expect the market to be at 100.5 or perhaps 101%. But there was a vast difference. And as a consequence, you get very different prices on course than you do on the exchange. So this is why I tend not to rely upon the on-course markets, because they tend to be a distortion of the true market, because they include the bookmakers overrun. And on this occasion, they were charging 15% per bet for every bet that they took, versus absolutely nothing on the exchange. So that just shows you what a gap there is between value on an exchange and on course. So yeah, it was an interesting experience. I've always been curious as to why Windsor on a Monday evening performs so much better than other markets. I suspected it was because of the crowd and because of the number of bookmakers and the amount of money flowing through the market, because when you look at other evening markets, they're nowhere near as good. And when I turned up at Windsor and had a good look around, that's exactly what I found. Now I suggest actually it's worth you popping along to Windsor. It's quite an entertaining evening. If you've never been to a racecourse, or you want to go somewhere to be entertained on a Monday evening, then actually Windsor was pretty good. I would recommend going there, and I'm probably likely to go back as well. And they do all of the after race entertainment as well, so that's worth going if you just want to go out and meet some friends and so on and so forth. You don't have to pay £25 to go in the club enclosure. You can walk around all other areas of the racecourse, and it's perfectly adequate. But yeah, it was a very entertaining evening, and maybe when I stop trading, then Windsor on a Monday evening can be my regular haunt, although I'm probably more likely to use an app to place my bet rather than a bookmaker, given that overround percent. Anyhow, that's my story of going to Windsor on Monday evening. If you're interested in learning more about BetAngel, why not visit betangel.com today and download a free trial.